All right, for today's workbook, we are going to be drawing a deer. So I am going to start with one of my sketch brushes. I prefer to use 6B under sketching. And I'm just going to set up my reference here so that I know what I am drawing. Okay. The very first step, what we're going to do is sketch an oval for the head and an oval for the body of our deer. If you put them down and you decide you need to adjust placement a little bit, you can do that with the selection tool. When it's on freehand, you can just draw around your object, press the cursor, and adjust. We really ideally want the head to be almost like perpendicular to where the chest would be. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger and move it over here. Our next step is going to be connecting the head to our body with two slightly curved lines here. And I'm just going to continue kind of rounding out where our body is going to be here. The next step is going to be sketching in some of the basic details. I'm going to sketch in the shape of the deer's face around that oval. So it's going to be definitely more rounded on the right side, is higher up, and then it'll come out into a snout. Just like if we were drawing a dog, it's that part of the face that comes out for the nose. From here, we're going to sketch in the ears and the legs, and we can do that. We can start with just kind of a general rounded triangle shape, and then adjust from there to give it a more natural feel. We're going to sketch in where the nose will go, and then we're going to sketch out the legs. So for the first leg, we're doing kind of just an angle here. Then we're going to do a straight line for the front leg. We're going to assume that pretty much the back 2/3 are where this leg would come up. And we're just going to have that come out there, and then the back leg is just going to be slightly bent as well. And these can be adjusted depending on the position that you want to put your deer in, and we can also adjust the other elements once you have these sketched in. From here, we're going to kind of draw out the difference where this color demarcation would be. And so we can start at the nose and sketch up on the face, and then bring that down so just the chest area would be colored. We're going to have part of that come back up so that you can see it in the belly. But the majority of our deer is going to be brown. Next, we're going to add in a few more of our details. So we're going to sketch in that tail, the eye, and then some just general features for our deer. The hoofs are basically a square with a little triangle to mark kind of where that bottom of the hoof is. And then from here, I'm looking at this and realizing that this is like the shortest, fattest deer I could have come up with. So we're going to give him some more height. Excuse me. Okay, from here, I'm going to add another layer and turn on my studio pen brush under inking. And from there, I'm just going to go through and outline the parts of the deer that I would like to keep. So I'm going to start with, oh, that's way too high. I'm going to start with my face. So my nose is going to be a cute little heart for the shape. And then I'm going to come in and up slightly, and then down to the chest. And then I'm just doing the opposite for the other side. And I can always turn my opacity for my sketch layer down so that I can see really well what I am doing here. The next we are going to start at the top of the nose. Whoops. And add in the head for our deer. I'm going to add in, nope, a little bit skinnier ears. And make sure that the one comes out of the side facing us. For the inside of that ear, I'm just going to follow the outline like so. All right, next I'm going to round out the back of the deer into its hind leg. And you can always make adjustments at this point from your sketch layer. Your sketch is there just to be a preliminary idea of what we're doing. It isn't the end-all design. Okay, so I'm going to come in here and work out this back leg. And make sure that I get that hoof in there as well. All right, then we're going to add this front leg. With the same little hoof. If you want to, you can always widen the hoof just so that it looks a little bit more separated from the leg. And then we're going to bring up the belly here for our detailing. Then we just add the two back legs. Again, adding in those hooves for the feet. My hands are a little shaky today, so bear with me. Then I'm just going to add on the tail and add in the details. And then I can turn off my sketch layer and see that I've got my deer right here. All right, I think that his ears should be just, or her ears should be just a tad bit bigger. So I am going to adjust that area. And I'm going to move the eyeball down just a little bit. And there we go. We've got a cute little, kind of chunky deer, but you know what? I'm about it. From here, we can turn this layer to a reference and add another layer for coloring our deer. I can go into the color wheel and pick the color for the base of our deer. Oops. And I'm going to make it just a little bit darker for anything that's too dark, that is on the back side. Then for the face, we're just going to go with a light tan. No, let's maybe make it a little bit sandier. There we go. And we're going to apply that to all of those feature areas. The spots are going to be white. And the hooves are going to be a dark brown. And we can do the nose the same color as well. As usual, I'm going to add a little bit of pink, oops, to the cheeks. Maybe a bit more reddish. Sorry if you can hear my window smashing the blinds against the window today. It's nice out, so I thought we would have it be fresh air day. And then I'm just going to add my dots in the eye of the deer. And the last feature that I always like to add are some highlights. So I would add some to the face, to the front of that chest, in the tail, and then kind of outlining the rest of the deer. So up here on the neck, down there, across the belly, down the legs, and last but not least, on those darker elements. And this is just something that I personally like to do. You don't have to add it to your characters, but I think it gives them a little bit more character. And there you go. We have officially drawn a deer together. If you want it to look more like a fawn, you can make it a little bit skinnier and smaller per my original sketch. This would be like an older deer, maybe getting ready for winter or something. But that is how to draw a deer together.